if you could each say your names, please. Just like.
My name is Luciano Camera.
I'm Vic Bullard. My name is Sarah Davis.
Okay. And your name?
My name is Liam Reese.
Okay. So I guess the question I just wanted to ask was like, what have been like your inspirations over the past year that kind of led you to this moment to say, being outside protesting is something I want and can do?
I can definitely start. So I actually didn't get a chance to participate in the Black Lives Matter protests that were happening around the country.
I'm sorry, could you speak a little bit louder?
Yeah, sorry.
Just the thing.
I actually didn't get a chance to participate in the Black Lives Matter movements that were happening around the world. And when I was sitting there watching the stuff that was going on the screens, I developed a fear that every time my mom walked out of the house, she would be in harm's way. And I am very much a firm believer that you should never keep your fears to yourself, and you should stand up to them and show them to the world and fight them. Because in a world full of nasty and horrible people that are really just scared of change, if you embrace that change, you can shed a light onto this world. That's just what I've learned to love.
Thank you.
I've been going to protests since I can't remember if it was like the end of elementary school or like early in middle school. My parents have always been like big advocates for like activists, and I went to women's marches when I was younger. I went to Black Lives Matter protests. I went to the recent abortion rally. I went to, I think, the March for Our Lives.
Yeah.
So I've always been very like passionate about activism and protesting, and like that's very much amplified like as a LGBT student. I talked about not feeling super safe around a lot of the like people in my school, so it's very important to me to not only fight for my own kind of, like Luciano said, fears, but for other people's, because everyone's voice can always be louder.
So I haven't gone to a lot of protests when I was younger like Vic, but I've always watched my mom and my grandmother and so many of the very strong women in my family go to those kind of things, and my biggest inspiration for so long was them, and just I wanted to be like them. So that just kind of led me to speaking out. I joined things like theater and stuff to help grow my voice, and honestly, Student Union has been such an amazing organization to be a part of, because I finally feel as though it's one of the only safe spaces in our school, and it's the one place where as a student I can be respected by other students, and I can just speak loud and speak the truth.
Yeah, I'll say something.
Okay.
So as one of the only POCs, like one of the few POCs in our school and a part of the LGBT community, I feel that I have a need to speak up and speak out, especially for people who feel like who are afraid to speak up or fear speaking up because of the repercussions that other students or administrators could bring on them.
That was my brother. Sorry.
Yeah. But I felt when I heard about the school committee and what happened here and the protest that was happening, I knew I had to be here, and even like I wasn't even prepared to say a few words, but I did just because I felt so strongly about this. And I feel like no student should be afraid to walk through the halls or be in school. Like, school should be a safe space for all students, LGBTQ, POC, anything, and it's not. And these leaders are reinforcing that, and that's why they need to step down. Unless they're going to change their mindsets, they need to leave.
And do you want to say something?
And I've had a similar start like Saren, the woman in my life, a very strong woman, and have always stuck up for what they thought was right. And ever since, I've been following the media for a long time, and I'm very like to say that I'm try to stay invested in like the school culture, and I feel like because I am a white straight male that there needs to be an ally. There needs to be someone who can speak up for everyone when people are too afraid to speak up. I don't feel like I have much to fear, and I feel like that it is my duty to like fight for change when I see my friends getting harassed, getting bullied, and I see the school committee. I see people in our society who have continue to be racist, transphobic, homophobic, and make decisions only for themselves. Like, I remember, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember either Sheila Ellsworth or Tara Thibodeau stating that about the grant, that this isn't the right interests of our students, who are our students, not just the white. They're not just the white students. They're everyone in our community.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess another thing would be like, so I kind of wanted to talk to some of the like people in opposition, but it seems like they all left before the first person even finished speaking.
Oh, definitely.
So, like,
They don't
As
want
they
to
should.
listen to us. We're kids. They don't respect us.
yeah, so I was gonna ask, like, has anyone like specifically tried to engage with you, or like what are they even saying, or is it just like, I talked to two people before you, and they said it was kind of just like insults. Like, has anyone even actually tried to like say, oh, well, actually,
They-
Not that
They
I've
don't.
heard.
I've never. I mean, granted, I've never approached. Really, I don't really approach them. I've spoken at like a couple school committee meetings, so I guess I have approached them, but I've never kind of gone up to like one of the members and been like, "Hey, can we kind of level on this? Like, I want to understand your thinking." So granted, I've never done that, but they, to my knowledge, have never really tried to see from our level.
So, just because you talked about speaking up at the school committee meetings, I know that when we do stuff like this, the school committee board hates it. And they hate it simply because of the fact that they know times have changed and that people have changed, values have changed, and they just can't seem to change. And we can do all this and fight, and we're never going to stop fighting, but as much as we're not going to fight, as much as we are going to fight, they're going to fight hard to make it sure that they seem like these heavenly figures who do no wrong, when in reality they're just like everybody else.
And there are 4 members of the school committee who are with us, and they really do try to fight back, but I mean, it's very hard when they are 5 to 4.
I've known one of the school committee members since I was very young. I have like I had gone back with her like a long time, and watching her like now act, watching her from my perspective now as a very proud out gay student, and just watching her be so racist and just overall horrible. It's disgusting. I'm sad to even say I was even like kind of known with her about her. I don't know how to else describe it other than I'm so glad that I was able to see from so many other perspectives now. So many perspectives that they refuse to see from. They don't care about us. They don't care about minority students. They've made that clear, and that's why they need to resign.
So I guess like the final question, is like, I definitely consider this part of like a national like wave of like school board activism. But a lot of that has also been like an equal amount of like people showing up and being like, get critical race theory out of our school. You know, that happened in North Kingstown, where like there was like a ton of people trying to recall someone, but when it was time to actually recall them, 0 people signed up for the thing. So it was like, oh, actually that was like a dark money thing funded by unknown people. And this seems like kind of the opposite, like it's a little more like student centered. I'm just wondering, like, have you kind of like kept up to tabs on like what other people are doing in school boards?
Yeah, we definitely
like understanding
have.
what's,
Yeah,
how that's, like, what's happening in the state.
It's
and
crucial.
nationally.
It's really important. Sorry. It's really important to stay notified about the things that go around, because you never know when those problems are going to come knocking on your door, and you want to stay as ready and as prepared and as encouraged to fight back as they're going to, because the problems are going to come back no matter what, 1,000 times harder than you can really prepare for. But to still stand up and fight, after that fight is over, you are automatically the winner. And like, in my mind, if someone were to come and fight me and push me to the limits, I wouldn't give up. And knowing that I didn't give up makes me that stronger person. And you can't be somebody who doesn't give up unless you know things are going to come.
We also have we're not very close ties, but we've talked many times to the Providence Student Union, and they are in full support of us, which is amazing to know about because they are such a strong and powerful union. Yes, and they have such a good following. And we want to be like them someday. And we know that Bristol Warren is a very, very white town, or towns. We know that our district is predominantly white, unlike Providence. It's a lot more diverse there. So we want to follow in their footsteps. We want to do as they do in many ways. But we also, we're gonna be fighting different battles. But in the end, we're very glad that we can call them an ally, and we want to be like them. We want to be as powerful.
My family gets the local paper, the Bristol Phoenix. So I see, like what you said about like the critical race theory thing. I see letters.
Someone actually accused you of it when I was like standing.
I see
like,
letters.
It's coming all over the country. I was like, okay.
I see letters all the time from like two specific people like complaining about critical race theory, and I don't know how to tell them that no one here teaches critical race theory. The simple statement that black students matter is not critical. It's not a theory. It requires no thought. It's a fact. And the petty pushback of, you know, them trying to use buzzwords that they know will make people angry really
that they don't know how to use.
Infuriates me. But oh my god, I was gonna say something. I can't remember
What they don't understand is that equal rights for everyone doesn't mean less rights for white people. That's not how things work.
It's not a theory. It's a fact.
Yeah, because like
It's not even a fact, it's just general decency.
yeah, like I don't know, like
I don't know where
critical
they came
race,
up with that.
critical. Yeah.
You don't teach that here.
My
We don't
history
teach anything
teacher
here.
was talking about that the other day, and he was like, "Nothing I teach in here is critical race theory. It's all fact." Like, I think that people find something to be angry about, and then they kind of make it other people's problem.
And like ultimately our relationship with the rest of the world as a whole and our community is how like critical race theory is a fact of life and a fact of the relationships between people, and how like bigotry and othering people is just is sort of a universal truth. It's not something that we're like fabricating within our own community. It's and that is really the defining factor, I would say.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that information about the Providence Student Union. That's definitely like interesting. I didn't know that. So it's cool to know that like you're looking for connections with groups of people.
They are
was
very,
so-
very kind, and they're a very, very powerful ally. Like, they've done so many amazing things for their districts, and we hope to someday be like them. Like, not just focusing on like everything happening in only the Bristol Warren School District, but the other like schools and things that are here. We're a union for the students, not just Bristol Warren students. Someday we'll be more than just what our Instagram page says, Mount Hope Student Union.
Yeah, and kind of.
Oops, sorry. No. Someday we're going to be more than that, and we're very excited for our future.
The publicity that like they've kind of given us by like promoting us and reposting us has really like personally it like made me really happy and really hopeful. Also with the publicity in like different newspapers, like the Providence Journal was a really big one for me in my mind. And I kind of did have that fear that maybe no one was going to be here, like no one was going to show up, we'd be talking to nobody. And then like people showed up and counter protesters. I don't really know if they didn't really protest anything, so showed up, and I was like, okay, so they know we're here.
They're scared of us. They're scared of us.
They didn't say anything. You didn't hear them doing anything.
I heard them saying some kind of.
They were actually laughing during the first speech.
Yeah, I heard them and I was like, can y'all shut up?
That's
I
really
just
insulting.
I was like, can y'all?
Yeah,
I shouldn't be making that kind of judgment. I'm supposed to shut up, but I was like, that was really surprising.
Yeah, I went up and stood in
been
front of
worse,
them.
though.
I held up my sign and I stood in front of them. I did not want to. They should not have been. I don't know.
Do you know that
I
they were
just kept
laughing
like,
pushing
a
my
little
sign backwards.
discouraged?
Yeah, I saw you. And as adults, it's kind of like you are an adult. You're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be a role model. And
You're
sitting
acting like
here,
a middle schooler.
You're sitting here laughing at a high school student who's trying to make change, make a speech, make a difference. And it's like, you're acting like a child. You're acting like we're acting more mature than we
That's
are.
a big part of our protest against the school committee. Like
we're acting more mature
the
than you are.
childishness of many of them is very
If your kids are ashamed of you,
discouraging.
you're doing something wrong. You're doing something immensely wrong.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you for coming.